Hello, this is Jennifer Dent, host of Tying the Financial Knot, and today we are here with another fabulous expert, Miss Tara Colquitt, who is the Credit Woman. Hello, Tara.
Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk to all of us about credit and what's love got to do with it.
What's love got to do with it? Nothing. Because people have love of spending money, but that's not the love we're talking about.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, one important thing you need to get together is the credit conversation. I was just looking at your website, thecreditwoman.com, and I like the quote that you have on your page by Carl Bard, which is, "Though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending."
Definitely.
How is that related to credit? I think you have a little theme there, right?
Yes, because what happens for many people, let's just take out all the people who say, hey, I was young and dumb and I didn't know what I was doing. Life can intervene. So life is death. We don't want to talk about divorce, but it is divorce. Health issues, which anyone can be affected with, and underemployment. So a situation has occurred in your life, and now you have to get through that storm. Once you're through the storm, you can't go backwards anymore. That bridge is gone, but you can start over. It's never too late to start over. And even if you have to, for some people when I counsel them, the worst has happened. They have to file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a way to start over. Credit counseling is a way to try to modify something so you don't have to do bankruptcy, because it is a big financial devastation. But you can, it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You can relive. So what I always want to tell people is that it's not the end. It's just the end of that particular situation and life story. But you can always start over. You just can't.
Yeah, I can personally attest to that, because when I got into my financial issues and just couldn't pay my bills, my credit score tanked. It was the lowest that I'd ever seen it before, and it was very scary. But literally, less than 3 years later, 2.5 years later, it jumped up back to where it was before I got into my financial issues.
Exactly, and I love that you said it didn't take 3 months. Okay?
No.
It took about 3.5 years. It takes time because, the storm is not usually swift and fast. It takes time for that storm to come through, and the devastation of the lower credit and 30-day late and charge-offs and collection accounts. And it's going to take just as much time, if not more time, to get back on your feet. So I always tell people the hardest thing in my particular business is people who promise something that I go, if they can do it, I'll work for them, because I don't believe they can do it. And I have yet. I'm still working for myself. I'm still the credit woman because I still don't see anyone doing it the right way. Now, let me just say, there are companies out there that are legit. There are companies out there that, do typical credit repair, which is really trying to get things off the credit report. But those usually work best with people who have money and have one, maybe two issues, because they want to get it off the credit report. It's not about paying the bill. Because of where they are in business, they can't have anything on their credit reports. Totally different animal than someone who has gone through a life cycle, and now it's about, I don't have enough money to pay all that debt because it happened when, it would take me 5-6 years to pay off all the debt when you might need to settle. You're in a different place. So my job is to counsel you through that in the best way to get your credit straight and to get you back on your feet.
Well, you're definitely the one person I know who I can talk to about credit. And so I hear that I can hear in your voice how passionate you are about credit. So tell me, how did you get
through it?
Yes. So tell us, how did you get into the business of helping people with their credit?
Well, as I said before, or maybe I didn't say before, but I went through a divorce. And I know these are people tying a knot, so everything is wonderful and happy. Wonderful. But when a situation occurs, and in my life it was a divorce, everything changed. My financial situation totally changed. And so I went through my savings. I went through everything, and especially starting a new business. So my credit took a hard hit. And I must say, I always knew I needed to do this because people were not getting good advice or counsel with it, and I knew exactly what I needed to do because previously in my former life I was a real estate investor, and in early 2000s I worked with a company that to me did magical things like, how did you get $9,000 off of someone's credit report? Because I'm thinking, why am I paying my bills? I mean, come on. if debt could just magically disappear like that, what are you doing? Well, after time, we worked with that company for maybe 2-3 years. It's like, oh, that actually comes back. What they were doing is, writing the letters, getting things off the credit report for a certain amount of time, but the debt was still out there. So it wasn't that the debt was forgiven, it just wasn't on the credit report. And that's why I want people to be very clear with that you have a financial and moral responsibility to pay back a debt. Over time, after 7 years, you're no longer responsible for that debt, but it's from the time of the collection. Mm-hmm. So you have to be very clear on what you're doing when you're using someone to, quote unquote, fix your credit. Mm-hmm. It really is always about you. And if you don't understand what someone is promising you or doing for you, then it's probably not the best advice to get, because you really have to understand that the best thing that I hear people saying is, oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay, eureka. It has to make sense to you.
I'm glad you say that it's a moral responsibility to pay back the debt.
It is.
I think sometimes we think that, it'll just fall off or I'll get a charge off and I don't really have to pay it off.
And sometimes you can't. Sometimes, literally, you're going to have to wait that 7 years or you will have to file bankruptcy. But if you can pay it, it's not going to magically go away. Because 7 years is a long time. I mean, it's a long time in any part of your life. I mean, let's just assume you're going to at least make it to 70. That's a tenth of your life, okay? That you're just waiting for something to come up. I'm not trying to use 10% of my life to do anything.
Right.
This is my life. I want it to be
that
good,
way.
and I don't want to mess around with negative anything to do something. So, so that is really, really so important to really look at your situation and determine exactly what you need to do. Okay?
Yes. So let's talk. What's love got to do with it? Credit.
Yeah.
What do you tell your clients when they are talking about their individual relationship with money? Why is that important to know what their relationship is with money?
Well, I always say when someone has an issue with their credit, it always first starts with, how do you look at your money? Do you look at money as something that is here to spend, or is it something that you want to save? What is your relationship? And everyone knows what their relationship is, whether they want to talk about it or not, okay? So, and especially when you're getting married, it's important that everyone has the same theory on relationship, because that's when you get into problems. When they say most people fight about money, that's what the issue is. It really is that they don't have the same ideology about money, because you usually have the savers, and then you have the spenders. And I have literally talked to many couples, and the issue has been that one or the other is split really down the middle. One or the other does not want to save money and does not want to go forward with doing credit counseling.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's
could be a potential problem.
Yeah,
so
that is a problem.
Say,
it's not a potential problem. It's a big problem.
It is a problem.
Yeah,
so to avoid that problem, for people who are engaged or dating or getting ready to be married, you're saying you should probably have that discussion if you don't already know whether you're made as a spender or a saver.
Exactly. And then you also you might as well do it now. Get your credit reports, because I would never say to someone, oh, you shouldn't marry that person. It's like, if you're going to be a unit, then you're going to be united. That, okay, this is the person that needs to do the financial planning, okay? Because one person is always better at it than the other. I literally have had people say, especially men usually, well, my wife will say to do this, but I kind of do what I want to do because they're head of household, okay? It's okay as long as everyone knows their role, because that person will get it done. And a lot of times I will have, fiancés, wives call me and say they will listen to you better than listening to me. It's just a fact. That's why because I'm like, well, you know exactly what to do. Yeah, but he's not going to listen to me.
Yeah. You're a third party. Yeah.
I'm the third party.
So you said, Tara, we should know the other person's credit score. We should pull the other person's credit report.
Yes.
Now, that's a very tricky subject. How would you broach that to a couple who's dating? They're in love. They're oh so happy. They don't want to ruin anything, but it's very important that they know the other person's credit. So how would you approach that?
It's never about ruining or even pointing a finger. It's really about everyone being honest about who they are and what their expectations are. So it's very, very important that if you can't be honest right at the beginning, what's going to happen 6 months later after the wedding when everyone's happy and all the rest of it, like, oh, I saw a great house, let's move here, and then all of a sudden, well, it won't even take 6 months, really. 6 weeks later, it's like, it's all for, what do you mean? People, you have to deal with truth. And sometimes truth it's not a happy place to be, but it's truth. And you can always get through that. You really can. And I always tell people, it's not about not spending your money. In fact, I went from the terminology budget to spending plan. We all spend money. Now you just have to determine what are you going to spend it on.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the spending plan, because I do like that you don't refer to it as a budget, because people hear the word budget
like
and their blood pressure raises.
Budget is a diet, and that means I can't have something. When the spending plan says you can have exactly what you want, now what are you going to have? So put that first. What's important to you? Because electricity is important to me, okay? So my spending plan has electric high up in the beginning, okay? It just does. It's my spending plan. I desire electricity. That's, hey, what do you want? Because you can have everything you want, but what do you want?
So you're saying you have electricity high on your spending plan versus putting your trip to the Bahamas or something like that.
Yes,
or
it
shoes.
comes higher.
Shoes is a good example. Okay.
Yep.
So you rather have electricity than cute shoes.
Yes, because I'm going to spend money. I have X amount of money to spend. What am I going to spend it on? I choose to have electricity. I choose to have food. I choose to put gas in my tank. These are your choices. Because I can always choose to say, you know what, I could save at least $300 a month by taking public transportation. But I like driving my car. Okay?
So
I like having a car.
When you're united and you're in a marriage, you've got to have those discussions together. It's not okay. So that is also part of the conversation when you're, putting the spending plan together, is that you all need to agree what goes where.
Exactly.
So what do you think about, this is the favorite question, joint accounts versus individual accounts when you're married? What's your opinion on that?
I had one account when I was married, but I think realistically nowadays, just being, very cautious and it doesn't hurt anyone, I think it should be 3 accounts. His, hers, and ours. Ours is what we pay our stuff from. Let's just say if you have, people, men and women, like cigars. Cigars are, I think relatively expensive. But you can have, that's your discretionary income over there to do with what you want. While someone else the big saver might say, okay, well, this is my discretionary income, and I'm just going to put it over here. As long as there's no friction about what people are doing with their discretionary income, the worst case scenario is the saver will have thousands of dollars saved up 20, 30 years from now and say, baby, I'll pay for that vacation home, no problem, because I knew that was the plan all along.
Mm-hmm.
Or, that's my money. You know, so it is what it is, but it's not a bad thing because it's just putting money to the side. That's it.
Okay. Now, here's another question. I don't know if you've heard this term of the Shawnee stash. And Shawnee is Shaquille O'Neal's ex-wife, and the rumors were that when they were married, she was like stashing away all of this cash as if, you know, she was planning her exit.
Right.
Secretly. I don't think Shaquille O'Neal knew about this secret account. What do you feel about these secret accounts?
I think that's almost a plan to fail. Once again, I think honesty is always the best policy. I mean, that's why it's a little quote, right? That if someone felt like you can't save money, ding, 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 that's going to be a little issue for me right there. Because if I'm saying I'm putting money over here for us, and if us ever, you know, fails, and you're not taking away from it's not like you can't do things, our us account, this is my money to do with what I wish. As long as people know about it, then it should be. I'm always about, even when you join together, you're still individuals. So it's important to keep that individuality because it's not even about just if people break up. I mean, life happens. Death happens. I have a very good business associate. Her husband, 23 years, died suddenly. Heart attack, gone. They weren't prepared for that. They were in their 40s. And that was scary because there was no preparation for that. None. So I'm like, prepare for the worst. Work towards the best. But life happens all the time.
Prepare for the worst and work towards the best. I like that. And I also like that you said that the secret stash account is really, you're setting yourself up to fail because in the back of your mind, you're thinking.
I mean, no, I think you should just be honest about it. I really do. Because if you can't start out with honesty, you're in trouble already. Yeah,
I hear you on that one. So let's just jump back to the credit topic real quick. When we talk about checking credit, where can people go to pull their credit scores?
The best place to go, and it is free, is annualcreditreport.com. And that is free from the credit bureaus. Awesome. Guys, I need you to go out. And the other one that's also free is www.creditkarma.com. Karma, Karma. Those are free sites to get your credit report.
Okay. And I think you have that information on your website too, right, Sarah?
I just have the annualcreditreport.com. I don't have Credit Karma yet because I haven't really worked with it, but people have gotten it. They've gotten their scores, and it's free. I just don't know what algorithm they're using to create that scoring system because the big issue is if you go for auto, you get one credit score. You go for mortgage, you get another credit score. If you go for insurance, it's another credit score. It's about 16 different algorithms where 1 + 1 does not equal 2, ever. Okay? So you have to, whatever you're going for, that's the world that you're living in. But most people, when they're looking for a mortgage, that's really important for them to just be sure. Great credit is great credit always. But if you're on the verge, that can make a difference of what you're going. Yeah, it really is. Because most people
need. You can help counsel
That's
people.
where I can help. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. So here's my last question, unless you have anything else that you want to add. Couple, lovely, happy, we're so in love couple. They take your advice, they pull the credit scores, and they say, okay, this is me. I'm being honest. This is where I am. His credit score is great. It's wonderful.
Right.
Her credit score is not so great.
Right.
What do you do, though? What do you do from there?
You work as a united team, and you say, okay, what do we have to do in order for us to become financially secure with great credit, because you might as well, if you're joining with this person. Now, the important thing is if someone has a habit and maybe even an addiction, that's something that needs to be found out ahead of time, because that's something even
like a spending habit.
A habit might be, I have to have the designer wear, and that costs money, and maybe your income does not support that habit. That's just a habit, and you can break habits, but addiction is a totally different animal. That could be the third person in your marriage. Okay, and that's something that people really need to be aware of beforehand. So
you need to find out the cause of this person's lower credit score.
Exactly.
They didn't just wake up and say, oh, my credit score is 520.
Right.
There's something that they did. Okay.
Right.
And you should have
that. And even what type of, credit issues that you have. If it's excessive credit cards, then, okay, then that's a spending habit. But if it was an eviction from a rental situation, and it was because, you were out of work for 8 months, and, the lease was for, 6 more months, and you had to move in with a friend or family, okay, that's an explanation. So we can resolve that. That's clear resolution, as opposed to just a spiral downward pattern of what are you doing with your money.
Okay. Definitely a conversation to have about that credit
score.
Yeah,
and it's not an easy conversation, but you might as well have it.
You're right.
Because you're going to have it at some point.
You're going to have it eventually.
Yeah.
Whether it's before or after.
No one would think of having children or getting married and not talking to a person about whether they wanted children or not.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come up, or it's going to come up. Someone's going to say yes or no, but you had to have that initial conversation.
Tara, the credit woman. I love it.
Yes.
So I know people can contact you in a bunch of different ways. Tell us how people can contact you.
Well, I'm Tara Colquitt, the credit woman. Don't remember my name. Remember what I do. I help you with your credit. So if you are anywhere online, and if you type in The Credit Woman, you're going to find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, because it's all The Credit Woman. My email address is thecreditwoman@gmail.com. Website, thecreditwoman.com. Honestly, you can find me online. If you can't find me online, I mean, really, the World Wide Web has gone down, okay? And you don't have to worry about credit then, because there's much bigger issues going on in the world. But I have a lot of avenues that I'm on radio, and wonderful. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for allowing people to hear what I'm saying, because it is all about giving people information about what they need so they can make a positive decision in their lives. So I give out what I consider great information, and then I'm a service. So I always say we go to restaurants and barbers and hairdressers, all that wonderful stuff. I'm a service too. But the most important thing is for you to become educated and determine exactly what you need in order to create the financial future you want for yourself.
I think what you do is so great, Tara, because what you're teaching we don't learn in school. Nobody taught me about credit scores in college. I have a master's degree. Nobody ever mentioned credit scores.
They don't.
Really
in fact,
important.
One of the things I've really been looking to do is to do workshops for high school students, okay, not even college, high school students, that you have to know this, so that at least it's not that first, like, what are you talking about? What? I didn't pay that cell phone bill. I didn't like that phone. It has nothing to do with it. You got to pay your bills, So it's and unfortunately, people get into trouble very early, and no one told them. How important this was.
That's my story.
It's your resume. It's your financial resume. That's my favorite thing to say now. So let's get your resume.
I like that.
Yes. Let's get your financial resume in order right away.
Well, when you get those workshops lined up and you have your curriculum set up for high school students, let me know. I've got some that you can definitely talk to.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, the Credit Woman, thank you so much for your time to talk to us today about credit and what love has to do with it. So, again, you can find Tara Colquitt on the World Wide Web. Just Google, type in the Credit Woman, and you will find her. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate it.